The Rode Wireless Pro has been the king of 32-bit compact wireless mics for a couple of years now, but with the brand new DJI Mic 3 and Hollyland's Lark Max 2 bringing some genuinely unique features to the competition, the Rode suddenly feels kind of basic. So the real question isn't which mic system is the best overall, it's which system best fits your video workflow. Let me explain. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Most video creators buy the wrong wireless mic, and it's not because the mic is bad, it's because typically they pick the wrong system for their type of content. So today I'll be comparing the brand new DJI Mic 3 to the Hollyland Lark Max 2 and the Rode Wireless Pro. And by the end of this video, hopefully you'll know exactly which one fits your workflow the best. Now, before I get started, this video is sponsored by DJI. I've been using the DJI Mic 3 for several months now and was even a part of the beta testing for this system earlier this year. I was also sent the Hollyland Lark Max 2 to check out, but I purchased the Rode Wireless Pro system myself with my own money and have used it for years now. So with that being said, this video is not a review for any of these systems. This is simply a comparison to point out the facts and features and capabilities of each, as well as raw versus mixed audio tests in order to give you guys the best possible representation of how these systems will work for you and your specific workflow. I'll still give you my opinion just because this is YouTube, but of course, take it with a grain of salt. Let's get started with everything that comes in each of these kits. Starting with the DJI Mic 3, you get a travel pouch, charging case, 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, 4 windscreens, a gray set and a black set, a USB-C cable, a short 3.5mm coiled cable. After years of me complaining, we finally got a coiled cable. You also get 2 magnets, 2 magnetic rotating clips, a USB-C adapter, a lightning adapter, which is sold separately. They did send that to me, but I lost it. I don't know where it went. You also have available a Sony hot shoe adapter, which is sold separately. And when it comes to the infamous Rode Wireless Pro, you get a charging case, an accessory case, 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to lightning, a 3.5mm coiled cable, a USB-C data/charging cable, 3 windscreens, 2 pro lavalier microphones that are locking on that jack, 2 lavalier windscreens, magnetic support, and lavalier labels. A ton of accessories with that system, but honestly, it's nothing compared to the Hollyland. I'm going to be addressing the combo that comes with the wireless monitoring kit, just because that's the one that I've been using and testing. But with the Hollyland Lark Max 2, you get a travel pouch, a charging case, 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, a USB-C mobile adapter that's independent, a USB-C charging cable, 2 3.5mm coiled cables, a short coiled cable, and a long coiled cable. Shout out to them. I really like that. You get a USB-C to lightning cable, 2 magnets, 2 lavalier microphones, 2 windscreens for the transmitter, 2 windscreens for the lavalier, and then 2 very unique USB-C to 3.5mm adapters to get that lavalier support. You also have the OWS wireless monitor earphone kit, which comes with the more expensive kit, which again is the kit we're talking about. And then there's also a Sony hot shoe adapter, which is sold separately. Now, each of these systems do range in price quite a bit. So the brand new DJI Mic 3 is going to run you $329 US for the 2 transmitter kit. And then the Rode Wireless Pro is $399, but I have seen this on sale multiple times for $319, $350. It's all over the place. Wait for those sales to pop up, get a little bit cheaper. And then the Hollyland Lark Max 2 without the wireless earphone kit is going to be $249 US. And then with the kit, it's going to be $279 US. The charging case of the Rode Wireless Pro when it first came out actually impressed me a lot. I really like the zipper combination that happens. It feels durable, it's got a grippy texture around it, and it holds your transmitters and receiver with the magnetic support and the windscreens on it. But honestly, a charging case is really simple. You got a USB-C port on the back. Now, the accessory case really annoyed me for a long time. You kind of just shoved everything into it. It's the same shape and size as the charging case. So I actually switched from this to these cord bag patches. Now, I know that this is much larger, but it's more convenient in my opinion. This fits in a Pelican case much nicer. I've been a big fan of this thing and really enjoy them. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to these in the description. Now, the Rode transmitter is the biggest of the bunch here. It's the heaviest of the bunch, but definitely has some more pro features that we'll talk about. It's got a reflective glossy finish with a discreet little Rode logo on the front. It also has a 3.5mm jack for the lavalier microphone, which is locking. It's got a USB-C port on the side, as well as a record and link button on the top and a custom button on the bottom. The receiver is basically an identical design to the transmitter, other than there's no lavalier port and there's a little screen on the front. It is a pretty small screen. It doesn't show you too many settings and it's not touchscreen, but you do have a custom button on the bottom to add markers. And then you've got a USB-C on the side, as well as a 3.5mm input. There's no headphone jack in here. here, so you can't monitor your audio with just the receiver. You also have a gain and channel button on the top and a link button, as well as a clip on the back that also works as your hot shoe insert for putting this on a camera. Now, the case of the DJI Mic 3 is a little bit smaller than the Mic 2, a little bit bigger than the Mic Mini, but it's the same design. It's got that locking port on the front, and it holds everything that you need inside of it, including the magnets, the windscreens, the USB-C adapter, even the 3.5mm cable. This will hold everything that you need, even the extra windscreens you can shove into the top of here and close it and it'll all fit. It does have USB-C on the back, which is now supported to transfer files on the computer. It's a little interesting. I'll talk about that in a second. So it does come with a little travel pouch as well, which is really awesome. It's the same design as the Mic Mini. So you open it up, you've got little inserts on the inside for your accessories. Now the transmitter itself has an updated matte black finish on the front, but you still have that big DJI white logo on there. So I wish it was just a full matte finish that's like a dark logo or something like that to keep it discreet. It's not much bigger than the Mic Mini. It's honestly very similar in size to it, even though it has a lot more capabilities to it. And it has 32-bit internal recording. The mic capsule is on top of the transmitter and has an updated windscreen attachment similar to the Mic Mini, but now it just clips into the two little brackets on the top. It's got a record button on the side, a link button on the side, and then you've got the charging tabs on the bottom. And that's about it. It's a really simple design, really on the go, fast and lightweight. And I know it does not have a 3.5mm jack. I understand that that's a major concern for a ton of people. I'll talk about that in a second. The DJI Mic 3 receiver has an OLED touchscreen on the front of it. This is really similar design to the DJI Mic 2, but the touchscreen feels really responsive. It also has an updated locking 3.5mm jack, so it doesn't slip out accidentally. The receiver also has a cold shoe clip on the bottom, as well as a USB-C port, a headphone jack, and there's also a power and back button on the side. So when you're navigating the menu, instead of just swiping to go back, you can just use that button and it'll take you back to the previous page. Now, per Hollyland fashion, you get every accessory under the sun. The pouch is now kind of an updated DJI Mic 3 idea. You've got your charging case, which slips into the side, as well as your wireless monitoring system. And then you have all of your accessories shoved into the other side. Now, the charging case of the Hollyland has a USB-C port on the back, which is not computer capable. This is just for charging. Now, even though there's a ton of accessories with this system, you can't fit them all in the case like the other two, right? Even with the Rode Wireless Pro, you can still fit the magnets, the windscreens, and even the 3.5mm cable you can shove in there if you want to. You're just fitting the transmitters and the receiver. You cannot fit the magnets with the transmitters. The transmitter itself is kind of a tall, skinny design to it. It kind of feels like a USB stick. But out of all the microphones, I think this is the most discreet of the bunch. This is kind of what we wanted from the other two brands. We just want a matte finish with a matte logo and be done with it, right? Hollyland's been pretty good about that type of design. The windscreen has that nice clip-on design, so they've definitely done some updates there. But the magnetic support is similar to the Rode Wireless Pro, where you slip it onto the clip and then the magnet just goes on top. The transmitter itself has two buttons, a record button, a denoise, and a power button. Then you also have a USB-C port on the bottom, which has a unique solution to the 3.5mm problem. So again, people complained that there was no 3.5mm support with the Hollyland system when it first got launched. So they came out with a solution that's this little adapter. It's a USB-C adapter that slides into the bottom of the USB-C, and now you have 3.5mm support on here. Really, really cool of Hollyland to listen to their audience and give this USB-C adapter after the fact. And it works great. The receiver itself is really similar to the DJI system. You have a little wheel on the left side, a home button on the right side, and then you've got that OLED screen to navigate the menus and settings and stuff like that. You've got a 3.5mm camera out on the left side, as well as a headphone out on the right side. And then you have a power and locking button on that right side as well, and then USB-C port on the back. And then you've got a cold shoe slide on the bottom that is not a clip. But then per Hollyland fashion, you do have an independent receiver for smartphones, laptops, tablets, stuff like that is USB-C capable, making this really, really awesome for mobile creators. All right, let's move on to computers. We're gonna start with the Rode because I think it's the best of the bunch. Now, the Rode Wireless Pro has the Rode Central app that you can download to your laptop, desktop, your iPhone, your tablets, and you can connect your transmitters independently with the USB-C, or you can connect them through the case. When you plug it into the computer, both transmitters pop up immediately and you're able to transfer files directly from there, or you can open up the Rode Central app and navigate your system like that. You can transfer files, you can download files, you can change effects and settings and things. The one downside is that a lot of the settings to change within the system are really easy to navigate and change in the Rode Central app, But as soon as you get away from that, the transmitter is a little bit lacking when it comes to changing settings. You can change the gain, you can change a couple of settings, but that's about it. Now, Hollyland does have their mobile app, which is Lark Sound, where you can manage all the different settings and you can plug in your mobile receiver and you can change the settings on that as well. And you can connect to the wireless monitors with it. But there's not a desktop app as far as I know. Now, the mobile app is really good and it's really awesome for changing settings. It's simple, it's to the point, it's reliable, and I'm a big fan of it. I do kind of wish that there was a desktop support, but not until they're able to make the case compatible with transferring files, because as of now, you can only transfer files with the USB-C on the bottom. And it does pop up just like the Rode and the Mic 3, pops up as a little screen, transfer files, good to go. Similar to the Hollyland, the DJI Mic 3 also has the DJI Mimo app, and that's where you'll manage everything in there. You can use the USB-C adapter to connect the receiver to the app. And then connecting to the computer, you just plug in the USB-C cable to the case and it will pop up as a window, just like the Rode Wireless Pro and the Hollyland. The one thing I will note is I have had some situations where the receiver just doesn't show up. Like it just won't pop up as a window. So then I have to unplug it, plug it back in. And then sometimes I even have to open the case and then it will pop up as a window. Those errors are few and far in between, but it has happened to me a few times. I think it's worth mentioning. At the end of the day, all three of these systems are pretty dang good when it comes to file transfer, mobile app connectivity. But personally, I still think Rode is my favorite. Now, before we move on to the raw and mixed audio tests, all three of these systems have some really unique features that make them good for different scenarios. And I want to make sure I address that. The DJI also supports group recording. So you got 4 transmitters and up to 8 receivers that you can work with this system. So you can do some really, really cool multicam recording for like podcasting and other stuff like that. It also supports quadraphonic recording. So that basically means that you can record 4 independent audio track outputs with Sony cameras. So using the Sony Hot Shoe adapter, it will record 4 different audio tracks for you that you can then, sync up and post if you're recording directly into the camera. I haven't used this feature because I haven't done a lot of multicam recording in my testing, but it's really cool. You also have lossless 24-bit audio into the camera that's 48 kilohertz. Now, the biggest differentiator between the Mic 3 and these other two systems is going to be the DJI Osmo audio support. So if you're using any type of Osmo system, if you're using their drones, you're using the Pocket, you're using the 360, this is going to connect to that wirelessly. I always ask people when they're asking me about wireless microphones, I'm like, well, what are you using to record? If they say any type of DJI system, I'm like, get the DJI, get the DJI. That's going to be the best system for you. All three of these systems have time code. The DJI is the only one that has time code in and out though. You have internal 32-bit float recording that does dual 32-bit float. Like I mentioned before, you have 3 voice tone presets. So you have regular, bright, and rich. I've been recording this entire thing with the regular voice tone preset. I don't hear a massive difference between these 3 settings, but they can help with, not doing as much work in post. You also have 2 levels of noise cancellation. A lot of these systems are coming out with this feature. It's kind of what they're trying to do to make it unique. I'm not a big fan of internal noise cancellation. I just would rather do it in post. That's me personally, but the noise cancellation is nice that has 2 different settings. So you can have a less dampened setting and then more dampened setting. Now I know the major problem with the Mic 3, there's no 3.5mm jack. Out of all these 3 systems, it is the only one that doesn't have 3.5mm support. I get that that's a major con for a lot of people and is the reason that a lot of people are calling this like the Mic Mini Pro rather than the Mic 3, because without that, it doesn't feel as much of an update from the Mic 2. What I personally think is that I don't think the Mic 2 necessarily needed a major update. If anything, the only major update from the Mic 2 was size, which is exactly what the Mic 3 is to make the Mic 2 significantly smaller. So you get 32-bit float internal recording inside of this thing. So I think that the Mic 3 is genuinely made for content creators. It's made for YouTubers, people who are on the go being quick. But it also has features that if you're in the pro space and you're doing interviews and stuff like that, this is capable of working with those systems. But if you desperately need the 3.5mm jack, guess what? The DJI Mic 2 is still in production. Or if from this video, you're like, oh, hey, the Rode Wireless Pro actually has more of the features that I need. Oh, hey, the Hollyland Mark II actually has more features that I need. You can go with those because they have 3.5mm support. So look at the DJI Mic 2 or these other options. Anyway, that's my take on it. Love it or hate it. Now the Hollyland Lark Max 2, even though it's not the smallest of the bunch, that goes to the Mic 3, it is definitely the lightest. It's at 13.5 grams. While the Hollyland does support up to 4 transmitters, it does not support the 4 independent audio tracks, just like the Mic 3 does, but it does have have time code support, and it has your 32-bit float internal recordings. It does have the smallest internal recording capacity at only 8 gigabytes, which is significantly less than these other two systems. But it does have something really cool that I think in the future will be really innovative and awesome. But it has 32-bit full chain audio recording, which essentially means that you can transfer your 32-bit float recordings, not just internally, but also to the receiver if the camera has support for that. So some of the new Lumix cameras and some recorders are able to support that full chain recording, but it definitely needs some work. There's some kinks that need to be worked out with it. So I think it's gonna be really cool in the future. And I love that, you know, Hollyland is thinking about that. This does also have your internal noise cancellation, but instead of just having two different settings that you can turn it on and off, like a low and a high denoise setting, it's actually a stepless noise cancellation system. So you can adjust your noise cancellation by decibels, like per decibel. It's just like a little slider on the receiver. You can adjust that and change your noise cancellation depending on the scenario. I think this is the best implementation of noise cancellation I've ever seen. You also have 2 voice tone presets similar to the DJI Mic system. That one has 3, this one has 2. Now the Rode, which feels like the most old school of the bunch, but this only has a 2 transmitter maximum with its system, but it does have 32 gigabytes of internal onboard recording. So you can record 32-bit audio up to 40 hours, just like the DJI Mic 3. Like, look how far we've come as far as technology. Same internal recording, but literally like 3 times the size. Blows my mind. That's crazy. You also have intelligent gain assist, which I forgot to mention on the Mic 3. The Mic 3 does have dynamic gain assist, which is very similar to the intelligent gain assist on the Rode. And like DJI with other DJI cameras, this does connect to like your Rodecaster Duo, your Rodecaster Pro, or like the Streamer X. There's no internal noise cancellation or voice effects or stuff like that, but like I've already mentioned before, that hasn't really affected me. Now, as far as battery life goes, the DJI Mic 3 will give you 28 hours of battery life. Again, insane, small system, huge battery life. So that will give you 8 hours on each transmitter and 10 hours on the receiver per charge. Now the Hollyland brings an insane 36 hours of battery life. So it gives you 11 hours per transmitter and 12 hours on the receiver. Now again, the Rode, feeling a little old school, only gives you 21 hours of battery life. So that'll give you 7 hours per transmitter and 7 hours on the receiver per charge. Now, so far throughout this entire video, you've been listening to the mixed version of the audio from these microphones, meaning in post, I've added a little bit of compression, a little bit of EQ, and a de-esser in order to make these microphones sound a little bit better. But now you're listening to the raw internal 32-bit float that is recorded into the Rode Wireless Pro. In order to give you a baseline of how these microphones sound in their raw, natural state, I will recite the same phrase with each of these microphones, starting with the internal 32-bit float, and then with the 24-bit recorded into my Sony a7 IV. By the way, we're in my basement right now, which is not sound treated, but the insulation is still throughout the ceilings, and it's an unfinished basement, so there's not too much room echo, and honestly, it does a decent job of getting rid of some of that reverb. Starting with the 32-bit float internally in the Rode Wireless Pro. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. This is the Hollyland Lark Max 2 raw 32-bit float internal recording. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. And this is the raw audio from the DJI Mic 3 32-bit float internal recording. The low cut filter is turned off, and all of the voice tone presets are turned off as well. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The FitnessGram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. So that's what all 3 of these microphones sound like in their raw natural state, both in 32-bit float and 24-bit into the camera. I think all 3 of these microphones are on a pretty even playing field when it comes to audio quality. I personally don't think that that is going to be a main deciding factor when it comes to purchasing these systems. I think there's other aspects to pay attention to that are going to make the decision for people. Each one does have their own unique sound signature, but at the end of the day, all 3 of them sound fantastic. Okay, so after this long video, you've listened to the raw versus mixed audio test. You've seen all the different capabilities for each of these systems. At the end of the day, it really only comes down to what you want. I think the Rode Wireless Pro is the most basic of the bunch. For the last 2 years, this has been my daily workhorse. Not just for social media, but for documentary shoots, narrative work, and even some commercial work that I've done. It's a capable system system that provides great 32-bit float recording, an awesome app and computer interface, the locking 3.5mm ports for lab mics. In my opinion, this system is meant for the pro young filmmakers and creators out there, but it lacks a lot of the new innovative features that maybe some of these other systems have. I feel like the Hollyland is a solid middle ground between these two systems, and I would honestly call it the bang for buck option. It's got time code, it's got a USB-C port on the bottom, and some other pro features that make it great for some higher end operations. But I also think the system has some new creator features, social media features that make it super awesome for plug and play. First of all, you've got that independent USB-C receiver for smartphones and tablets. You've got noise cancellation and audio enhancement features for less time in post. I'm not a huge fan of the clip and magnet system that's on here, but I think it's good enough for the situation. And I'm also not the biggest fan of the fact that the case doesn't hold any other accessories. But I guess that's the trade-off for this being the most affordable of the bunch at $250. I think the wireless monitoring is cool, but the audio quality needs a serious improvement. Now, I personally think it's clear who the DJI Mic 3 is for, but let me break it down. In my opinion, I think the biggest pro of the DJI Mic 3 and any of the DJI Mic systems for that matter is the DJI ecosystem. If you're using any type of DJI camera consistently to make content, the Action, the 360, the Osmo Pocket, get the DJI system. It doesn't have to be the Mic 3, but just get a DJI system. It's going to be so much more seamless to work with and is going to be the best option of the bunch, I promise you. If you need 32-bit recording, get the Mic 2 or get the Mic 3. If you want to be compact, get the Mic 3. I still love the Rode Wireless Pro for when I'm on set or need a system that will support pro filmmaker situations. But for just making YouTube content and social media content, in order to maintain high quality and still use my DJI cameras and 32-bit float recording to capture more content faster, I'm gonna reach for the Mic 3. But at the end of the day, remember this video was not to define which of these systems was the best overall. It was to help you guys understand which one is best for you. And I hope that came across. But with that being said, let me know in the comments which system you're gonna be reaching for. And if you're interested in purchasing any of these audio systems, there are links in the description. They are affiliate links. So if you purchase from those links, it does support the channel. Thank you so much if you do. And if you enjoyed this video, then maybe watch this video next. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you never miss out on new young filmmaker content. Good luck filmmaking.